Is Granblue actually going to get good support this time?
Stand up! Vanguard!
Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another Cardfight update, and today we're going to discuss the new Granblue cards that were revealed in today's reveal stream. And in these last couple of days we were scratching our heads and we're asking ourselves, are the clans in this set going to get actual good support, as the cards that had been revealed for at least Dimension Police and Granblue were a bit on the iffy side. We had the two great frees for Granblue, that was the whale deck and the tentacle monster thing, that was basically saying, well, if this the course of sport, then it's yikes for Granblue. And the same thing was for Dimension Police, as we got this weird alien grade 3, as well as a double rare, the police girl, that is basically a magical girl, and she is fine and all these cards are in some regard okay, but not really promising for the new support for these clans. However, today we finally got some good cards for Granblue, so without any further ado, let's jump right into these cards and see how they might help Granblue to resurface in this new meta. So first off, we've got a new grade 2, and that is Griet Shade. And it got two very interesting skills. His first one is continuous Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. During your turn, if your drop zone has 10 or more cards, this unit gets power plus 5k. This isn't something new. We have seen this basically in exact the same condition before, and that was with Griet Shade. So once again, the new Granblue support is probably gonna hinge around the 10 cards in drop zone to activate all their power plays. So it's not really that weird to see it once again on the card. And ironically, it's another Shade card, so alright, that's at least something that is in the same ballpark as the previous card, and Griet Shade was a very solid card. But now we get to the second skill, and this is what makes this card miles ahead of what we already seen before with Granblue, and that is his Auto Rearguard Circle skill. When placed, cost, discard a card from hand, put 2 cards from the top of your deck into the drop zone, and return a card not named Griet Shade from the drop zone into your hand. And this is what Granblue actually needed for the longest time, as they had no consistency in their grade 3 lineup, as any other Protect clan can go into a grade 3 and then right into a grade 3 and then keep riding into a grade 3. Granblue didn't have that. Most of the grade 3s will get milled, and they might be lucky to get 2 Protect markers, and very lucky if they get 3 Protect markers, and that's about it. This card fixes that completely. Granblue can now keep rewriting their grade 3s, and they can even keep sustaining this fact because of the way that this card can be placed also from the drop zone. Its skill condition doesn't require it to be placed from hand. And not only can we now finally fetch our grade 3 issues, we might even get some other potential plays active, because we can get anything from the drop zone into our hand. So if we have certain skills that we do not want to call from the drop zone, or we have certain unplayed from hand effects, then this card will interact with that very effectively. But not only is this a very good offensive tool, it's also very good for defensive. So it's a very versatile card, because with Protect 2 in mind, when we call this thing to the Rearguard Circle, it can potentially be a 90k attacker on its own. 5k for his first skill and 5k from the Protect 2. Then it can be intercepting as a 10k interceptor, and we can recall it to the field to get something from our hand. But what we also can do with this card is that maybe we don't want to fetch a new grade 3 for another Protect marker. Maybe we want to have certain cards for us for defense value, because when we use this skill, we cannot ride that turn. So we are saving a grade 3 for the turn after that. But if we need defensive card right now, we can potentially drop a grade 3 from our hand and then get a 20k heal trigger to her hand or something like that, or maybe another very interesting card. So this card is really great for Granblue, as they really needed this for the consistency play, and it is a very versatile card that will probably run in any build. So I think Granblue players are very happy with this new grade 2. But I also got a new grade 3, and that is Master Swordsman Nightstorm. And this is a more mid-rangey type of card, as it's not really a strong finisher or a pressure tool, but it does everything on a good terms in a nice little package. Because its first skill is Auto Vanguard the Rearguard Circle. When placed, cost, Put 2 cards from the top of your deck into your drop zone, and this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of turn. So this is a little bit similar to the Rune Shades on attack skill, only in this case it's on place. It's a pretty nice deal, as it can be a 70k attacker as well as Vanguard and Griet Circle, and you mill 2 more cards, and we want to mill a lot of cards as fast as possible. And note, it's a cost card, so we can decide if we want to do it or not during the mid and late stages of the game. And then we got the second skill, and that's Auto on Vanguard and Griet Circle. When it attacks a Vanguard, if your drop zone has 10 or more cards, cost, counterblast 1, and draw a card. This is a very good skill, as we can now draw consistently more with Granblue, as it's on attack and it doesn't even have to hit. And what's nice about this card is everything about this card, it works in the Vanguard circle as well as the Griet circle, so it makes it a very versatile card. And now, thanks to the new Griet Shade, we have more consistent way of getting this card to the field as well as into our hand if we potentially want to rewrite it for the extra protect marker. You might look at this card and see, well, why should I run this besides Beskirk that we have now, and with Skill Dragon as being a very strong attacker? Well, in some scenarios, the downside to Skill Dragon is it doesn't stay on the field, so you need to keep putting resources to keep it getting it back to the field. This one will stay on the field, but also in some scenarios where you know, alright, I'm not going to kill my opponent, but they're going to pressure me a lot, I need more resources. You can play this card, because now you can draw potentially one more, and it stays on the field, and it is a strong attacker, as it's 17k on its own without any booster whatsoever. And if you call it with Beskirk, Beskirk gets another plus 15k, so Beskirk will become a strong attacker on its own as well. So overall, Granblue's new cards are very interesting. The new Griet Shade is a very solid card that will be seen in almost any kind of build, and the new Nightstorm gives some more options to play in your lineup, as it's not really a sure include in every build, but it's a nice thing to have, as it gives more options in mid-turn plays as well as some late game options where you might not want to go in a certain build, but you want to go into something else. And with the new Hatred Trait and potentially other cards that are going to come in this set, we might see some more toolbox cards added to the deck, as we have now more consistent way of getting certain grade 3s to our hand thanks to Griet Shade. So we can now say, well, I'm gonna run 4 Beskirks, 2 of this grade 3, 2 of this grade 3, and 1 copy of this grade 3, because I have enough ways of getting it to the field or in my hand if I need to rewrite it onto the Vanguard circle. And this will make Granblue a way more interesting deck to play and a way more consistent engine in total. But this wasn't the only thing that was revealed today, as Bushred also announced in today's livestream that in next week's livestream we're going to get a new update to the ban or restriction list. However, they didn't specify anything besides that, so it could be only for standard, it could be only for premium, it could be for both, but it could also be that we're not going to get any update whatsoever, because they have done this in the past, that they announced a ban list update and then they banned nothing extra, so there was no update. So I'm very curious of what their intentions are and where they're going for, because a lot of people are screaming Bermuda, Bermuda, Bermuda for as well as standard and premium, but in premium is a little bit of an awkward spot right now, because this ban list will be active right before premium collection hits the format, and when that hits the format, then nothing looks the same as the day before that. So I'm very curious if they're gonna hit something in premium. I doubt it, but it's anybody's guess in what they're going to do. Hey, maybe they are going to unlimit Assassin because premium collection. But overall, I'm very happy with the new reveals for Granblue, at least these 2 cards, not really with the Will Dick or the Hentai Monster, but overall, these are some very good cards for Granblue, and we're going to see probably even more better cards, as we still have to see the VR. And I'm very excited for the direction that we're going to get for Dimension Police, as we're probably going to get Dimension Police reveals in the next week's livestream while we're getting the new ban list. But that's about everything for this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these new cards for Granblue, or even those other cards that were revealed in the Card of the Day segments, because they are interesting to say the least. But overall, I'm very curious of what your opinion is for Granblue right now, and if you have hopes that Granblue might actually be good enough to make it in the current meta, at least for standard. Premium, whole nother story. As always, I want to thank my supporters over at Patreon. You guys are amazing for making this video possible. And if you too want to support me on Patreon and get access to exclusive content over at Patreon, then head on over to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm going to watch the latest episode of Rising of the Shield Hero, cause that shit is amazing. And, as always, I see you guys in the next one.